Hey guys, this is Ash and you're watching WriterGAsh. So, welcome to the Damn Readathon TBR. And the reason it is such an exciting video is because Damn Readathon is a readathon, which I love, based on Taylor Swift, who I absolutely am obsessed with. She is one of my favorite artists. She is my favorite artist, and when I think about the music I like, I don't think of genre, I think of Taylor Swift, because she is basically the best person in music, in my opinion. Like, I'm kind of a bit crazy about her. I own every vinyl that she owns, technically, because I don't have the originals because I don't want them. She doesn't own them. But I digress. Anyway, moving on. So this is the TBR for Damn Readathon. So, quick before we go into my TBR, I want to talk a little bit about Damn Readathon. I think it started last year, and this year it's being hosted by Jen Agaton. I'm gonna link her announcement video down below, and they created this beautiful, gorgeous graphic. It's like the house from Lover, kind of like the house from Lover, with all the different albums, all the different eras, and each album has prompts associated with it. So without further ado, let's get into the prompts. So the first room we're going to go into is Taylor Swift, the self-titled album and her debut album, often referred to as debut by most of us. So the first prompt is Taylor Swift, and it has us read a memoir. I will not be doing that. I'm not a nonfiction type of reader, so I'm not gonna be doing that. But I will be doing the next prompt, which is our song, to read a book about music. So technically it's not about music, but it has music as like a central thing because the male protagonist is a musician. And I'm going to be reading Roomies by Christina Lauren. I have read The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren and I loved it. So I thought, why not pick this up? The plot seems interesting. It's got a music element to it, so it fits perfectly. The next prompt is the activity prompt. For this one, it's Picture to Burn. And you have to post a Instagram story showing off your book. And at some point, I'll do that. I don't know if I'll do that for Roomies, but I'll do it for some book today or tomorrow. Okay, the next room we'll go into, we're gonna do this in publication order, Fearless. So Fearless, the first is Fearless, a book you're intimidated by. I decided to not do that one. There were plenty of books I could have picked, but I decided to just go to 15 because it felt like reading a YA book, so read a book that is YA genre. And I'm gonna be reading Truth Witch for this one. I'm pretty sure it's YA because I read this back when I was 16 or 15 or something like that, and I saw it being marketed as YA. At the very least, the first book's gotta be YA, right? There was nothing explicit from as far as I can remember. I had read book 1 and 2 and never actually continued on with the series, so I thought this was a perfect opportunity to get back into it and finish the series. And finally, Breathe, the activity prompt. And it has you do some meditation. And to be honest, when school starts back up again, I'm definitely gonna need that meditation, because March is not an easy month. Next is Speak Now. The first reading prompt is Speak Now, a book that's in a trilogy or the third book in a series. And for Speak Now, I decided to go with also the next prompt, which is If This Was a Movie, which is probably my favorite song from Speak Now. And the prompt for that is to read a book that has a movie adaptation, and I decided to reread The Hating Game. I absolutely love this book, and it's just had a movie in December, which I actually enjoyed, so I might rewatch the movie as well. And the last prompt, the activity prompt, is to listen to an audiobook, which I'm gonna do with The Hating Game. I'm gonna listen to an audiobook of The Hating Game to finish this prompt. Okay, so next is Red. So the first, right off the bat, red, to read a book with red on the cover. And for that one, I'm going to be reading Blood Witch, which has red on the cover. It's not a red cover, but it's got red on the cover. Next prompt, which I'm not doing, is Begin Again. And it is to pick up a book you've previously DNF'd, which I could have easily done with, I think, one of the Truth Witch series books, but I feel like I finished the book. I just never continued with the series because it wasn't all out at once, and I really struggle to read series when they're not all out. Anyway, the last one, the activity prompt, 22, have a dance break, which honestly, totally doable. Everyone needs a dance break every once in a while, right? Anyway, so the next one is 1989. Wait, yeah, 1989 came before rep. Yes, what am I saying? I know this shit. So first is 1989. Read a book with a number in the title. While that is an easy prompt to fulfill, I decided to go with the next one because I like that one better. And it is Bad Blood, to read a book with a morally grey character. For this one, I decided to go with Wind Witch, because I remember one of the characters being very morally grey, Adon. I can't remember how to pronounce his name. I'm pretty sure Susan Dennard includes a pronunciation guide somewhere, so I'm gonna look that up when I'm reading them. Anyway, the last one, Shake It Off. I'm totally doing it. I decided to do the activity prompts because of this specific prompt, Shake It Off, to make a cocktail or a mocktail. I'm gonna try making a cocktail inspired by Taylor Swift. Maybe inspired by either Red or 1989, because they're two of my favorite albums. Every fucking album's my favorite album, but Red's my favorite album, hence the glasses and Red. But yeah, the next is a Reputation, and for Reputation, the first prompt is Reputation, to read a book that has romance within a separate genre, and that is the one I'm going to be doing. And I'm going to be reading Witch Shadow. Again, I know there were romance threads here and there in the first two books, so I'm assuming that's going to continue on because it was there in the beginning, but it's technically not a romance. It's a fantasy, so this fits that perfectly. The next is Look What You Made Me Do. And to that, which I'm not doing, read a book that's recommended to you. And I think a bunch of these books would fall under that category. Anyway, and then the activity prompt is to match a book to an outfit or dress, which I'm totally going to be doing and maybe posting an Instagram story about it. Okay, next is Lover. The first is Lover. Read a 5-star prediction. That's the one I decided to be doing. I'm gonna be reading Hook, Line, and Sinker. I read It Happened One Summer in January for another readathon, and I wasn't sure if I was gonna read this one, but I decided I think it would be a great book. And I gave Hook, Line, and Sinker, I think, a 4 stars. So I think this one, I gave It Happened One Summer a 4-star. So I think this one, now that I'm more familiar with the characters, I could definitely like more. And that's why I think I'm gonna give it a 5-star. So yeah. And then the next one is I Forgot You Existed. To read a book that's been on your TBR the longest, or that you have owned the longest. I could have done that, honestly, but you know, I thought, hey, I was planning on reading it, Hook, Line, and Sinker this month anyway, so why not? The last one is another activity prompt, and it is you need to calm down, to do some calming self-care. Like, I might grab a glass of wine, do a face mask, and watch some calming, funny TV shows. Okay, next we have Folklore. Okay, so Folklore, read a book based on mythology, folk tales, or retellings. I decided to go with the next prompt, which is Exile, one of my favorite songs on Folklore. And the prompt is to read a book written by 2 authors. And this worked out perfectly because I was planning on reading the roughest draft, which is written by 2 authors. And then finally, the activity is cardigan, to wear a cozy outfit and post a cozy picture to Instagram. I'll be doing that via story because I like to keep my feed really clean, and I've got my post planned for like weeks now, and I don't want to mess up my feed. Okay, so the final one is Evermore. So the first prompt for Evermore is Evermore, which has you surprise yourself with your book. Pick it with your eyes closed or use a random number generator, TBR jar, etc. So I'm doing a TBR jar of sorts, this like really cute Caraval blurry mug that I got from, I believe, Fairloot, their special edition box from like Finale. Anyway, so I've got a few books written on like pieces of paper in here, and I'm gonna randomly with my, well, I can't see since I'm looking at the camera. I'm randomly gonna pick one and see which book I'm gonna be reading. I hope it's a good one. Okay. I'm gonna be reading A Brush with Love, and I am super excited about that. The next prompt, which I'm not gonna be doing, is No Body, No Crime, and it is to read a mystery or a thriller. I do enjoy some mysteries, mostly romantic suspenses, but I've just not been in the mood for a mystery in a while. The last one is Marjorie, which is an activity prompt, and to post the best advice you've been given. I think this is going to be the hardest activity prompt for me because I can't remember any advice I've been given now that I have to think of something I've been told. Anyway, the other thing I'm going to be doing is the blank space prompt. Technically, the blank space prompt replaces the main prompt, one of the main prompts, if you find it too hard. But how I'll be doing is, in this house, I'm going to make my blank space the door. So I'm going to be using that as my blank space prompt. And for that one, I am going to be reading a book with a cat on the cover. And for that, I have picked Sweet Hand. It sounds like an amazing book, and it's got an adorable little cat on the cover. So yeah, I just had to put that in. But that is it for my TBR. I just wanted to add that the Damn Readathon does have a group book for people if they want to do it. I don't. And it is The Great Gatsby. It's just not something I would read. It's not in a genre I would like, so I just decided to not read it. Anyway, so that is it for this video, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day and maybe even participate in Damn Readathon.